Hi Henley students. Today I'm going to show you how to make a positive and negative space shape collage using patterns. You're going to need a regular size piece of black paper, 9 by 12, a half size sheet of color construction paper, scissors, glue stick or glue, and then something to color with. I'm using markers because it shows up really good on a video, but you could always use crayons or colored pencils. Whatever you have is fine. So first I'm going to draw some patterns on my half-size sheet of paper. I like to use different colors and different kinds of patterns. So on the front I'm going to use a shape pattern. Now I can fill this up with whatever shapes I want, and I can use different colors for my shapes. So I think I'll fill in some hearts, circles. You could always do different sizes for your shapes because that adds variety and interest to a work of art. Some of your shapes can be going off the edge of the paper if you want. It's always fun. When you're done with your shape, you're going to fill the entire front. When you're done with your shape pattern, you're going to flip it over, perhaps choose different colors, and then you're going to do a line pattern on this side. And you can combine different kinds of lines if you want, going in different directions. You can do diagonal, vertical, horizontal. You could do thin lines, you could do thick lines. I'm going to just do really quick some diagonal straight lines, and then in between my diagonal straight lines I'm going to do wavy lines. If you want to stick with just one kind of line, that's okay, as long as you repeat it over and over and over again, because that's what a pattern is. A pattern is something that is repeated over and over. Once I'm done with my pattern, now I did that really fast, so you can take your time and choose your patterns. I'm going to take the paper, turn it so that it's in front of me the short way, so that I have the long side of the rectangle facing me, not the short side of the rectangle. I'm going to cut a shape out of the long side of the rectangle. Now this shape could be anything I want it to be. It could be a geometric shape like a square. It could be a triangle. It could be half of a heart. It could be a diamond or a half of a diamond, which would actually be a triangle. Or it could do an organic shape. And I like to do the organic shapes at least to start with, because I think they're fun to cut out. Now I don't want to cut all the way to the edges. I want to cut this shape out of just the middle of my paper. So take a look. I left space that was uncut on the right and on the left. I also left the entire top uncut. So when I take my shape out, it's just out of the bottom middle here of my paper. Now I'm going to take this shape and glue it down to my black paper right away, just so that I don't lose it, because this part of the paper I'm finished with. And this shows me my negative space shape. So there's my shape, but it's not really a shape, it's just empty black space. It's just the black background paper. My positive space shape is here. And when I glue it down, I'm not going to glue it down so that this pattern, the line pattern, shows. I'm going to glue it down so that my shape pattern, so that if I were to take this shape and flip it in, it would fit perfectly. But if I tried gluing it down like this, it doesn't really fit. So I want to glue it down so that it's almost like I opened up the book. and I'm flipping it over to the other side. That's why we did one pattern on one side and a different pattern on the other side, so that you would know on one side of the paper you want your line pattern to show, and on the other side of the paper you want your shape pattern to show. Here's another example that I already finished. Lines on one side, shapes on the other. Now, if I wanted to get a little bit harder for this project, maybe a little bit more challenging, I could do something like this, where I have shapes on one side, lines on the other, but I have 1, 2, 3 pieces, and I'll show you how to do that right now. So if I take this paper before I cut it, and I cut out another shape from this paper, right here on the bottom, again, I want to stick to this bottom part, the straight edge. I don't want to go all the way to the edges, and I don't want to go all the way to the top. I just want to cut out a little shape from the bottom. This time I'm going to show you what would happen if I cut out half of a heart. So there's half of my heart, and there's my shape pattern right there. And when I glue this down, hold on, now you can see it's upside down. Let me turn it this way. So now we can see the heart. So now I have my negative space heart on this side and my positive space heart on that side. I still have my line pattern on this half of the paper and my shape pattern on this half of the paper. And all I would do is just glue this down right here and this down right here. If you want to get even more challenging, you would take this piece and cut out an even smaller shape from it. So let's try to do that. So I'm going to take it one more time. Last time, I promise. This time I'm going to do like a diamond shape. So I'm going to do a heart on the outside and then a triangle inside. And now this piece gets glued down, not with the lines, but with the shapes. And unfortunately I don't have a shape right there, so I can just add another shape if I wanted. You gotta try and make it fit. There we go. Okay, so that's how I would have that one. Let's draw a little heart there. Upside down heart. So that it matches this heart here. Okay? So now, shapes on one side, lines on the other. It's just a little bit more challenging. Don't get scared. You don't have to do that part. You can just do one shape, negative on one side, positive on the other. Lines on one side, shapes on the other. Okay? I hope you have fun with this project, boys and girls. I can't wait to see what you come up with.